This is Absolutely Essendon, our off-season ramblings. If you thought you'd be done with us for 2024, oh, you were wrong. Oh, you were very, very wrong, because we're back, we're here just to chit-chat our way through some off-season goings-on now. A couple of them might be a little stale, a couple might be a little fresher. We thought we'd cover them off anyway. Are you fine there? And we're going. You have our undivided attention. We're gonna recap a little just on the draft period. Just a very quick take, if you like. Maybe talk about Matt Rose's efforts thus far. We should touch on the AGM because there was some interesting voting going on. Some new candidates. We're going to look at what's been happening on the track. And maybe one or two other things as well. So stick around, pull up a pew, make yourself something nice. Let's get into it. Righto, so it's been a while, Bomber fans. It may have been 1 or 2 months since you last saw us, but we thought we couldn't let 2024 go by without just sharing our thoughts and ruminating on what could be for the Bomber faithful in 2025. How have you been?
Yeah, I've been really good. Great to be back after a little bit of a hiatus. We'd love to be doing a few more shows than we have been lately.
We would.
But, life happens, right?
Yeah.
And it's been tough to get to the studio, but a lot has been going on around Bomber World, Bomberland, and I know a lot of the other content creators. Is that whatever you call them, YouTubers?
Is that what we are?
Have been doing a fantastic job keeping all you guys up to date with what's happening, and particularly our good friend at Everything Essendon, Felix.
Yes.
That boy he's having parties like P. Diddy at the moment. He's got that many subscribers.
He would be.
He's been keeping us up to date.
He's gangster. Thank you, Felix.
Thank you, Felix, and all the best to you, our dear friend.
Yes.
Looking forward to catching up with him in the next season for sure.
All right.
So what's happened down at Bomberland?
Well, look, first of all, I just did with the draft. I just wanted to touch on how we did, and just a very quick take, only because at the time there was a bit of a pile-on in terms of people like your Damien Barrett and some other dude.
He's got it in for the Bombers, that
from
guy.
Fox. Well, I mean, he's just chasing headlines. But some other guy at Fox, and basically saying that Essendon kind of shit the bed a little bit, in terms of what they did with the draft pick in their decision to go all chips in for Carco. Now, I have to admit, a first take at the time, a blink response was, geez, why would you do that? But I know your thinking is that the strategy may have been sound.
I think it was very sound. And, there's one guy in the world of drafting and, young players, talent spotting that I listen to.
Right.
And that's Callum Toomey.
Yeah.
And I think he gave Essendon's strategy for the draft period a big thumbs up.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he gets it, right? Some of these pundits that just want to take pot shots haven't done their homework. Essendon was in a difficult place because we had a young NGA, Next Generation Academy player, Carco, who we'd committed to drafting, and of course we would, because he's exactly the player we need, a small, dynamic defensive forward.
Right.
But we didn't have to give up a first-round draft pick for him, because the fact is that he was a next-generation player. We could just match bids for him should those bids come from another club. So, of course, Essendon didn't want to use its first-round draft pick on Carco. They would have liked to have taken him later in the draft, but the risk was that if another club came at us and put in a bid for him early, we would have to have used our pick 9 to match. And that would have meant we definitely would have got Carco, but we would have got him for pick 9. Now, what we did instead is we traded that pick to Melbourne, and they gave us their future first round pick in its place. We still got Carco for a bunch of later round draft picks.
Right.
No big deal.
Right.
But we also kept a first round draft pick from Melbourne for next year. So we go into next year's draft with 2 first-round draft picks, and depending on how Melbourne go, if Melbourne crash and burn next season, that could be an early draft pick for us.
Go Melbourne!
So I think in the end it was the smart play. You know, look, the criticism came because no one bid for Carco in the top 10.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean they wouldn't have if we'd still had pick 9. The fact that we'd offloaded pick 9 probably put off clubs from wasting their time bidding for Carco earlier in the draft, knowing full well that we'd just put together a bunch of later round draft picks, which is exactly what we did.
Okay.
So
all right.
all in all, good. And I think we ended up drafting another 5 players or 4 or 5 players in that draft.
Yeah.
All good young kids. It was a very deep draft, and so even players in the sort of 50s and 60s were all considered pretty decent players, and we've got a bunch of them. So I think all in all, I would actually say it was the opposite of what a lot of these pundits were saying. I think it was a very, very good draft.
Yeah, okay, all right. Geez, you're giving it a big, huge endorsement.
Well, because I know what I'm talking about.
So we will come to the subject of those draft shenanigans a little bit later in our Burning Up the Track segment.
I'm looking forward to that.
A huge segment. But before we do then, in general, Matt Rosa, unshackled from his predecessor, so far, out of 10, what's your feel on his moves thus far?
Look, Matt Rosa must feel like someone who's escaped the horror of domestic violence,
right,
and has a restraining order on their partner, and can now get on with their life without the spectre of that evil looking over their shoulder.
Right.
And I think he had an exceptional draft for his first, crack at it. I think he did really well. And that's not to say he wasn't assisted by people around the club. I'm sure there were others involved. But all in all, I'd give him an 8 out of 10. Jeez. It was a very, very good draft from Rosa. He made the right calls. We picked up, in addition to that Melbourne first round pick next season, we also got St Kilda's second round draft pick. Right. So if St Kilda have a average year, that could be a pick in the late 20s, early 30s.
For 2025.
For 25. So we go into the draft next year with 2 first round picks and 2 second round picks already. So we're in good shape. Plus we got our man Carco this year. So if you look at it over a sort of 2-year time frame, I think we've done extraordinarily well. Yeah. And we've picked up 4 or 5 really promising young kids in the draft anyway. So all around, Matt Rosa, well done.
All right.
Anything can be better than what we had. So
all right. To round off the trade talk, because just before we press record, you mentioned one LDU as being a potential acquisition.
Wow, what an interesting potential free agency period we're going to have next year. So, Luke Davies-Uniacke is a restricted free agent. Surely North Melbourne will do whatever they can to sign him on. Surely. But, look, if maybe Brad Scott. I'm not sure if Brad Scott ever had any time with him as coach at North. Maybe he did. But anyway...
Possibly not.
I'm not sure. But I think LDU coming into Essendon, if there was a chance of that, I'd grab it. The other one was... I would. He's a great player. He's a very good player.
But we've got a lot happening in the midfield.
Yeah, but
and possibly more when we go to Burning Up the Track.
So perhaps that's the time you say to Darcy Parish, look, Darcy, thanks so much. Would you like to try a couple of years at Collingwood? And we go and we let 1 or 2 of these other mids go and bring in an LDU. I think there's a lot of upside in LDU as well. So that's a possibility. Raul from the Gold Coast is another player whose name's being mentioned.
Oh, really?
And I've heard from contacts close to the club that they're right into him too.
Really?
Right into him.
Yeah.
So
I don't mind him.
Matt Raul's...
I'd probably put him ahead of
could do.
Yeah.
So there's a few things. And then, of course, there's always the possibility of a play for Harley Reid. I think that's becoming more and more remote. But if Raul or LDU are on the table, for sure we would look at them.
All right.
For sure.
Okay. You get the checkbook. All right. Yep. Okay. So that's enough of the stale trade talk news.
A bit old, but good to wrap it up.
Let's talk about the AGM, because there was there's some shuffling, some moving, some posturing, with 2 board positions, right?
Yes.
Because there was a 1 or 2 people that are kind of late to the party that made a play, made a run, if you like. One of those was Dean Solomon from our very successful 2000 team. Hard nut player, tough at the ball. We'd love to see someone in this side like him now, wouldn't we? It's just beautiful. Now, he, interestingly, I mean, I thought he had coaching aspirations. At one point, I think he was assisting Stuart Dew on the Gold Coast, wasn't he?
He was,
and then there was something, I don't know why he left.
I think he did Brisbane as well. Was he at Brisbane for a little period of time? He's had a bit of assistant coaching.
Possibly. So him going to this board position, what does that mean? And fill us in on what happened there.
Oh, look, there's not much I can really report on that, people wouldn't have read in the media. But, Dean Solomon has threw his hat in the ring, and I'm pleased to say he was, in fact, elected to one of the vacant board positions.
He got the most votes, didn't he?
He did. He got the most votes. And David Barham, who, of course, is our sitting president, was also up for re-election, and he was also voted in. So the other three candidates missed out, one of whom was Paul Weston, who was a former Essendon player, great player back in the 80s. He played in the 84-85 grand final teams.
He was. He was also a defender.
He was also, a fullback, correct? Yeah.
Also a bit of a hard nut.
Well, you've got, I think you said it before, they've got the field in front of them. So they're very good at reading the play, and maybe they're good at running businesses like football clubs. I don't know. Right. But anyway, so Weston, he missed out. He came out all guns blazing.
Did he? What was his ticket?
He was running on a, we've lost our magic touch platform, and people don't respect the Bombers anymore.
The angry man?
Probably.
Right.
Didn't get him across the line. And the other one was the sitting board member, the lady, young Ms.
Hyphenated. Hyphenated.
She missed out, unfortunately, but she served on the board for 7 years, so thank you for your service.
Thank you indeed.
And just some guy who was passing by out at Windy Hill put his hat in the ring, got 700 votes.
Surely I can do better. Yeah, surely.
That's probably what I would have got.
How bad could you be?
Yeah, well, he didn't. I don't know what I think he was running on a no pokies platform.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, which didn't go down well.
No, we need the cash.
We do. So that was that. So Barham's back for a period of time as president, so he's going nowhere, and neither should he, by the way. I think Dave Barham's done a pretty good job.
Okay.
And Dean Solomon joins.
It'll be interesting to see what he brings.
Well, Solomon, he's quite a successful business career too in the background. So
really?
He's had a success with a gym. He's built his own brand of gymnasiums up, and of course he's had a great experience in football, both at a coaching level and a player as well.
Gyms are back as a business model. They are back.
They are.
Why is that?
Don't know. Just go for a run around the block, right?
Well, you would have thought, you know what it is? It's technology. Because before you'd have to have staff there all the time. Now you've got the 24-hour access codes. You've got, you got swipe cards. You don't need to.
You'd be a member down at St. Havens, wouldn't you? I would have thought.
Oh, that fancy place.
Yeah,
that's not.
You've got to mortgage your house to get a membership there.
That's
Tim,
not me.
Tim Berners, I shouldn't say that actually because we're dealing with him. But anyway, fantastic business, I should add.
Yes,
fantastic
great.
Business.
Fantastic.
St. Havens is amazing. I think Scott Pendlebury is a member at St. Havens, and look at him. He's amazing.
He's still going. Is he playing?
He is
playing in 2024?
He's back, and that's because
he'll be 36.
He's discovered the fountain of youth.
Well, he has. It's that cold hot plunge
I
thing.
think it's a few injectables.
You just all right. That'll do. Okay, so shall we touch on what's been happening at the track? And I've just a quick disclaimer because we're basing it on people who've spoken to people who know a guy that did actually go to the training sessions.
So that you mean you read it in social media? that's what you're saying, right?
Is that basically?
You were on Bomber Blitz. Right. Okay, fair enough. That's always accurate.
Did you? But speaking of the socials, did you see they released the players kicking from the boundary?
Oh yeah, the perennial favourite.
Oh man, like
snapping the ball from the corner.
But at least just put at the bottom attempt 27.
Yeah, no, they got it first time every time. Yeah.
Just tell us the truth, all right? Don't come in with the fancy.
Hey, Jonesy, banging it in from an impossible angle. If only. Hey, do it in a match, mate. Please.
But they persist with it. Like when they're doing their content plan, do you think they'd go, you know what, this year maybe let's just ditch it and let's just let them do it on the field.
Do you remember?
Let's not build up the pressure. Let's not burden them.
You remember when Jonesy was kicking from 25 out against Collingwood that time? A couple of seasons ago.
Yes.
Last minute.
Yes.
Game wrapped up.
Yes.
Just had to put it through.
I do recall.
Yeah. Missed that one, but at training he's defying the laws of physics. Yeah,
mate, he's just. Yeah.
Einstein got it wrong. He is defying the laws of physics, and not only him, but every player just strolls up, bang, round it. Yeah. Turns around the corner. Okay. Anyway,
all right,
they're on fire. So burning up the track.
Let's kick off with the player that we went all chips in at draft period. He should now be well ensconced down at the club, have his own locker, knows the coffee guy.
Yeah.
Do we have any early mail from a guy that knows a guy that maybe has seen what is or? Because I'm lobbing this up for you because I know you have very good mail. So I don't know how much you want to say though.
Oh, happy to say it.
Because it made me like I was worried that this desk was going to start
genuinely
mysteriously as it did last year.
Genuinely engaged, I should say.
It was.
But yeah, I do have some pretty good mail on that. But just before we talk about that, let's just have a look at the number that they gave Isaac Carco. Number 10. Hey, he's carrying on the great legacy of Sam Wiedemann. You know, what pressure are they putting on this boy?
I mean, how can you carry that burden?
Oh, he must have been shaking in his boots.
It wouldn't be easy.
And Sam would have come and presented him.
Yeah.
Do me proud.
Yes.
Do me proud.
Go forth, young man.
Jedi.
Yes.
Huh?
Grasshopper.
But anyway, right. So Isaac has got the number 10, and he's going to have to live with that. But, you'd only have to kick one goal in 3 seasons to beat the previous guy. But anyway, so he's been burning up the track. As the segment says. And I've got that from none other than the captain of the team. Not that he spoke to me directly, but through a very good friend of his. It has come to me. So it's only one person removed.
Right.
And this is the person who told me is a former Essendon player, only retired a couple of years ago. So,
right. Okay.
So anyway, it is,
I'll vouch
and
for it.
I even posted a picture on our X-Twitter account, so you'll know who it is if you look at our
people
X
are
account.
joining the dots as we speak.
Right. So anyway, Zach has been watching Carco very close up at the training, and the feedback from Zachy is the kid can do things that he's not seen before from an 18-year-old. And he's super impressed with this young player. And, the word is he's playing round one. It's as simple as that.
Is that right?
So that's an exclusive.
That's such a huge
something
call.
that you don't hear on the other channels, right?
You won't. You won't. Felix, you're not going to have that.
Okay.
No.
So,
well, you know what? All I say. I mean, I hate to burden these young players. They're just young guys, ultimately, just wearing our famous colours. But that'd be so
talking
nice.
Of famous colours,
that would be nice.
We didn't discuss this in the dress rehearsal. The away clash jumper has come out.
Oh, I haven't seen it. We normally post that. Have we put that on our socials?
No, we haven't.
No. Right.
Again, we're first with the breaking news.
Right,
okay, so guess what they've done this year?
What have they done?
For the first time. Because the club constitution has explicitly stated that the team can never play without wearing a red sash.
Right. Okay.
That is it. That's in the constitution.
Right. How have they got around it?
Well, I don't know, but they've got around it. So this time, if you think about last year, we had the red jumper with the black sash, but in the middle was a red strip.
Yes.
So the red sash.
Yes.
It was there.
They got around it that way.
So this year, no little red stripe down the middle. It's just a straight up black. So it's an inverted jumper, red with a black sash, as it always should have been, as everyone has been calling out for ever since we were forced into wearing clash jumpers.
Right.
And it looks absolutely fantastic.
Really?
And it's under the guise of Puma. I think they say Puma in Germany.
Do they? Those Germans.
So Puma.
Adidas.
Hey. Yes, so Puma are our new shirt sponsor, and Under Armour, thank you for your service. And they've come up with an absolute beauty. It looks amazing. I love it. I think everyone loves it. I'm surprised you haven't seen it because the Kardashians are wearing it. It is that hot.
Okay, well, that makes the away games even more exciting.
You won't miss us. You will not miss the Bombers when they're playing away, because they will be parading around Adelaide Oval in a glorious red shirt with a beautiful black sash on.
Right, so there'll be no excuse for turning over the ball, no errant handball.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Yeah, exactly. None of that.
Anyway,
all right,
so that's
good.
great news. So burning up the track, we kind of got sidetracked there.
Absolutely.
Kane Baldwin is an interesting one. Now, for those that don't know, and I think most of you probably do.
I thought he was out.
He was delisted at the end of
He's back.
the season. But he's been asked to come and train, do the right thing. If you want to have another crack, turn up to training. And he's not just turned up, he is setting the field afire and has been the standout from all reports.
Oh, man.
Are you
trying to just...
I was sorry to see him delisted, to be honest.
I was.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little harsh. I thought there was probably others before him.
Yeah, I think there probably was. But look, he was delisted. The problem for Kane is a bit of an in-between type of player. He's not super tall, he's not super short, he's not super quick, he's not super slow.
Right.
But he has got some unique talents. He's a fantastic kick of the football.
I always thought he was highly committed, you know?
And he's got a good set of hands. So, here's the thing. He's come back determined to win his place back in the side, and he can. He can be selected in the supplemental selection period,
right?
Which, for those of you who remember, was how we got Nick Martin.
Yes.
So
bargain of the century.
Kane could be back. I think there's another young guy, who was playing with our VFL side, who's also contesting for that spot, that SP spot. So Kane could be back. I think other players that are doing really well. I think Nate Caddy's going pretty well from all reports.
We want to hear that.
How exciting would it be if Nate Caddy and his childhood best mate Isaac Carco can form that incredible partnership? What do you think about that?
It's the stuff of dreams. I'm salivating. That makes you, the prospect of that makes you look past the very steep membership price hike.
Well, I think you've got to pay for it, right? And Essendon are certainly making us pay for it. Making us pay for 2 years of falling off the cliff. So they've pumped the prices up on the membership this year. I think the silver membership's gone up to like $900 a year.
I'm telling you, they should do it success-based.
I agree, but they're not going to be. We'd be handing out, collecting coins at the corner of Puckle Street and Ascot Vale Road. But anyway, the prices of memberships gone. So it'll be interesting to see if the membership numbers hold out, because I suspect there will be a decline in membership this year. I think people were pretty disenfranchised or disheartened after last
disillusioned
season. All the disses.
Disgusted.
Disappointed. All of that.
Dismayed.
Can you stop?
All right.
And then, to have a $200 lift in your membership, if you're a family of four wanting to go and watch the Bombers play, you'd want to be living in Toorak.
Yeah.
That's the only way you're going to afford it. So
yes. That is right. Now, King Kyle, Langford.
What do you reckon?
Well, the talk has been incredibly positive, which is great because we need those. We need those goals. 2 metre Peter. It's been mixed thus far. What I've been hearing.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he'll ever return to that former glory, that Crichton medal glory.
No chance.
How many as coach? Okay, a serious question. How many weeks would you give him before you go, all right?
Well, it's team balance, isn't it? How do you field him? Do you put him at full forward and Caddy in the pocket next to him, or do you send Peter out to the half forward line where he's very good? He can get a bit more space, get a little break, get out on his own to mark the ball because he's not very good one-on-one.
That's right, because that's always been the issue, right? Yeah.
So and he's a great kick from distance. So if he's floating around that half forward line,
he's a great kick.
He is.
He's a great kick.
So I don't know. Is he
3 weeks? I'm giving it.
Look, I'm sure he's going to start the season at full forward probably. Caddy will probably go out. But I think it should be the other way. And Jones, where does he play?
That's true.
Is Jonesy going to be on the wing?
Yeah.
I just don't see him as a wingman. But anyway, we'll certainly find out soon enough.
But that was kind of working towards the end of the season, though, from memory. Or is sort of that distance now sort of making me feel more nostalgic about it than what it really was?
I think that's it.
Bugger.
I think that's it. I don't...
All right.
Look, he had a couple of decent games playing off a wing, but when you've got, like, there's Saad Al-Hawley, who's doing pretty well. He's also another track burner.
Yes.
Looking very, very fit. I mean, he could be playing off a wing. He could be coming off a half. There was Archie Roberts, if you remember. Archie came into the team.
Very well.
Was really impressive in the 2 or 3 games he played.
Incredibly.
He could take, that half-back spot, and maybe Nick Martin moves up the field and spends a bit more time around the wing or even half-forward. So
yes, I'm all for that.
Archie Perkins is the other one. Now, Archie, I don't think has been burning up the track.
Right.
But he needs to, because now with Stringer, of course, off to GWS...
Yes.
Archie is the player most likely, I think, to fill that Jake Stringer role.
Right.
Can he do that? Can he be that 2-goal-a-game guy? I don't know. I mean, I really hope he can be. But
he's not a bad kick. It's just always, he's just off and on, right?
He is,
It's that inconsistency.
Yeah. He's shown he can be a super player. Like a couple of games, always against Hawthorn for whatever reason. He's picked up Brownlow votes, and he had a fantastic game against the Hawks in round 1 last year.
He did. He got us all excited.
So look, if we can tap into his obvious talent, I think Archie's going to be a pretty important player for us across that half forward line in the Jake Stringer role. He's the most likely candidate for that role, I would think.
Okay. Well, that will be interesting to see how that play out, because you've got the likes of Guelphy. You've got Gresham, of course, and we'd like to see a bit more out of both of those.
Yeah.
That would make a big difference.
And look, Carco coming in, and also Elwyn Davey, and Jai Menzies has come back looking pretty sharp. He's dropped a little bit of weight. He's slimmed down a bit.
Oh, okay. So not Sam Durham sharp.
No, not quite.
He's gone the other way.
No one does that.
He's trimmed down a little, has he?
Well, I say no one's done that, but there is one player that has gone. He's this year's candidate for the Sam Durham Award.
Oh, who is
for
that?
the most buffed is Elijah Sartis.
No
Elijah
way.
Sartis, looking fantastic, looking really, really strong. Around the shoulders, he looks fantastic.
Right.
I mean, honestly. Look, if Elijah was a number 5 draft pick, the kid can play footy. He's had a few problems with his kicking, well documented. They've been working on it. He's been working on it.
Right.
And I think if we can get him into the side, who knows where he can go. So something to look forward to.
Right.
With Elijah.
Okay. Well, it's going to be incredibly interesting in our midfield.
Yeah. Competition for spots, right?
Yes, very much so. Who we end up, because we did our top 23, and it wasn't a mission, but we kind of forgot Darcy Parish.
Well,
major possession gatherer.
True.
So it will be interesting to see the makeup that Brad Scott goes with early on.
Well, I think Merritt, Parish are obviously the two sort of premier midfielders in the side, but with the emergence of Caldwell, who is carrying an injury, he probably won't be back in full training until late January, maybe even early February.
Okay.
Durham, of course, had a fantastic breakout year last year.
Right.
And you still got guys like Dylan Shield, who, if you remember, came into the side towards the end of the season last year and was very good.
It up. He did.
Very good.
He did.
So he's the ultimate professional. He's never reached the heights we hoped for, but with the departure of Dyson Heppel, Shield really takes on the kind of elder statesman role down there. So
I think he has been.
Goldie as well. He's like in his 50s now. But
I think Shield, according to the guy that knows the guy, has been down in defence in the match.
Right, he has been. Yeah, they've
thrown down
in the back line.
Did we want to touch on Sam Draper, or are we going?
Well, he's cut his hair. He's cut his hair.
Has he?
He has. He's trimmed the mullets. It's not quite as luxurious as it once was.
Right. Okay. All right.
He's clearly been told, put the mullet to one side and stop. The brand Draper.
Sure.
Has been all about flair and mullets. It's got to be about being a good ruckman.
Right, okay. Well, that's interesting. Maybe that's a sign of intent. But the word is he wants to go home still.
Well, his contract expires at the end of 25. He's a free or restricted free agent, and from all reports, Adelaide are going to come real hard at him. And he's an Adelaide boy. So, who knows what happens. But if Draper goes to Adelaide, I'm not going to lose too much sleep over it.
I'd take that deal.
Yep. If we got a first-round compensation pick for Sam Draper, I'd be all over that. I would be all over that.
Please.
Imagine if we had 3 first-round draft picks next year.
Oh, like 2020.
So this is a very important year for Nick Bryan.
Right.
So Nick Bryan started to get a bit more game time last year. He's really got to step up this year.
Yes, I would agree with that.
And in the event that Draper does leave the club, not saying I want Draper to go, but if he was to go, we would take the compensation.
That's it. How's Vicentini going?
Yeah, really promising player.
Yeah.
A good call that, by the way, Smoking. I like Vicentini a lot. I've watched him a lot, and he's still a bit of a project player, but he's young and he will develop. But the guy has got an incredible set of hands and he is super strong. Yeah. He's a very, very big unit. So I think Vicentini could develop into some kind of player. Now, it's easy to say that on the back of a few VFL games.
Yes. It is quite easy to say that.
I really like the look of him. And we picked up a young guy in the draft. Now, I'm going to ruin the pronunciation. Geraint, I think. Geraint. Yeah. He was, I think we took him with our second pick in the draft. Western Australian boy. He's sort of about 196 centimetres as a kind of tall forward, sort of backup ruck type player. Looks really promising. And from all reports, the club was delighted that they were able to grab him before anybody else. So there's some ruck stocks. Of course, Goldstein's there in the background as well. And I hope Goldie isn't going to be picked to play, in front of Nick Bryan, but he's there and could be a useful backup to have throughout the course of the season.
Now, what about the young recruit who's won the time trial?
Yeah, that was Angus Clark, I think it was, who was our putting Carco to one side. I think he was our second pick. I'm not sure. I'm getting these mixed up, but he was an early second round pick or a second round draft pick for us, and
made a name for himself.
I think he was taken about pick 37 or something like that. But anyway, that doesn't matter. Point is, he won the 2K time trial and won it handsomely. So good on you, young man. And he took on all comers and he prevailed. Right,
excellent. Yep. All right, well, that's another positive sign.
Yes.
Well, once you start stacking things like that, I just start to get excited.
You
because,
do.
It's the time of the year when we reach peak delusion.
Is it that time?
As we've covered. Not quite yet.
When does
Early
that come?
January.
Early January.
Yeah, it's the other side. Once you come
after
through
they come back from their Christmas break.
That's right. That's when you start dreaming again, because hope springs eternal.
It does. Essendon fans know that better than anybody, right?
Better than anybody.
20 years have passed now since we last won a final. 20 years.
Yeah.
That's been a long time. It's a long chunk of our lives that have just gone like
massive chunk.
So let's hope something happens.
Yes.
I'm not sure we're going to win a final in 25. Look, you never say never, but I think if we can show consistency, none of this out of the gates, with a fantastic 8 out of 10 and then fall off the cliff. Let's just have a consistent, season where the players are developing, the young kids are coming on, and if we finish around 12th, I'm happy with that.
Right.
I just want to see signs.
Do you? Oh, yeah. I'm all for consistency. But yes, if we do start strong again out of the gates and then wither away the second half of the season, is that going to place pressure on our coach?
I think it's enormous pressure. If the Bombers fall off the cliff like we have for the last 2 seasons, I don't think Brad Scott can survive that.
Yeah, I would agree.
I honestly don't think he can. And that, 1 year was bad enough. 2 years in a row, okay, all right.
3 years.
3 years.
You've had enough time.
You really have.
To move the furniture, get used to things, and make an impact,
so
I think.
They've got to show some improvement this season. Now, that doesn't necessarily winning more games. I think it's just the improvement, I think, and tell me if you disagree, is just consistent effort, competitiveness, and to see younger players getting better. That's what I want. If we only end up winning 7 or 8 games, no big deal. We're not winning the flag, so it doesn't matter. But I want to see improvement from Archie Perkins, from Nick Cox. I want to see, Gresham live up to his price tag. These guys have to start showing something. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
I would agree. Yeah. I would agree. And do you foresee... well, hopefully not, based on what we've said, because, there was the round in 2024 this year where we spat the dummy after the Adelaide game and didn't record an episode. Let's hope that doesn't happen again in 2025.
If it reaches the point where we're that disillusioned with, there's a diss words again, with the club that we can't be bothered filming one of these episodes, then, I hope that isn't the case.
Yeah, I really
do,
because that was dark, my friends.
Yeah.
That was dark, as you all know. We all shared that pain. Okay, so
Very good.
I think that is pretty much a wrap. I will say like and subscribe as always, but for special mention, please, before I go any further, to one viewer in particular who's always donating. Very generously. We really do appreciate, and that's Capital Bomber. Thank you very much. Doesn't go unnoticed. There's lots of you that do donate from time to time, but Capital Bomber...
Not as many as there should be. But
well, yeah. Fortunately, we're not living off it, so that's fine, but we do appreciate, and when we're having our coffee, we do think of you. But Capital Bomber, thank you very much.
Capital is the perfect name, right? Because he's clearly got plenty of it. Because he's tossing a bit of it our way.
Maybe that's what he's referring to.
He could be just some guy that goes into YouTube world and just throws money at...
Yes.
Here, take $5,
just
my good man.
Throw some coins, like a Roman king.
Yeah.
Just out
Toss
of the
a coin,
out of the horse carriage. There you go.
Arms
just
for the poor.
Arms
for the poor. So it is really greatly appreciated,
it is.
Mr. Capital. You know who you are. And thank you so much for your kindness and generosity. We do appreciate it.
Right.
And we also appreciate the fact that we have, I think, the most engaged community in the Essendon YouTube world. We may not be the most prolific producers of videos, but when we do, they're always full of fantastic comments and well thought out replies.
We do. We do appreciate that. And we get emails from time to time as well. And we had one recently as well who made some very good points.
Well, do you want to tell us who that is? Or?
I can't recall right now.
Well,
but I reckon let's mention that as we kick off because it's it was a very well written email,
fantastic email,
and I'm sorry that I don't remember your name right now, but it will serve as a great launch pad for 2025.
A lot of interesting ideas about how the team should be fielding itself next year, and
yes.
I thought it was a well written. I'd give him an 8 out of 10 for that. That email was fantastic.
Yes.
We will come back to that. So you know who you are.
Yes.
And thank you for that, and thank you for everyone who does drop us a line every now and then. It's a little stalky, but that's okay.
We do.
That's all right.
We do appreciate it because we get wound up by this club, and we're not the only ones.
Yeah.
Let us tell you that. Okay, let's leave it at that. We want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas.
Yes.
Happy New Year. Felicitations. Celebrations.
Feliz Navidad. Yes, and happy Christmas, guys.
And you will see us in 2025.
You absolutely will. Back bigger and better than ever, and with some really exciting news about our channel, Absolutely Essendon.
And some exciting special guests.
Well, that's the plan.
Early on as well.
You know that guy that knows the guy?
Yeah.
Told us about the guy that was...
right, okay. Hopefully he'll be
He's
on.
coming.
All right, okay.
He's coming.
All right. Okay.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks again for watching.
All the best.
Appreciate it.
See ya.
Bye for now.